that's a good thing.
I got dentistry work. I'm not going to go to the dentist if they're going to fucking torture you with promises of what they're doing. They could pull wisdom teeth out. That I don't want the wisdom tooth pulled out.
There's also, according to sources, Borderlands Studio Gearbox is in the late stages of sale. So Bracer Group is going to sell Gearbox Studios. We've talked more about Gearbox because they're getting into more things, right? It's not just video games now. They're getting into movies. They're producing a lot of things. So like Gearbox is helping other companies put out their video games. So we actually may have news sometime soon that
I ain't no child molester, but I don't have no fingerprints matching the weird fucking serial killer shit they're fucking saying about Crown Vic. Crown Vic, Victoria, fucking moron. What was the Marquise car parked there, and we have the paperwork, whatever the fuck was the same kind of car, didn't have damages on it, so he sold the undamaged car back in 2008 or 9 or 10 or whatever the fuck. So that was before any of that creepy shit occurred.
Let's see, there was a quote from they actually did reach out to Randy.
Information, right?
So Pitchford said a decision had been made regarding the studio's future with more information to be shared next month. So next month we'll know for sure, but it's looking like Gearbox is going to be able to go back out on their own, which again could be a good thing. It just depends on what they want to do. I think it almost feels like we're moving past the stages of like AAA games being, the monopoly of like successful AAA games being from these established studios, because there's so much of the studio bloat, and they're like, well, we've got 10,000 employees, and you honestly don't need anywhere near that many for some of these projects. And then they're putting out lackluster games with extra monetization put in there so that the studios can try to recoup some of those bloated costs. And you've got smaller companies like Avalanche and Larian.
Right there, the fingerprints wouldn't match. The fingerprints wouldn't match.
And it's just
the crime scene. This was my old profile, and I had to make another one because I signed out of it and didn't have a two-way verification system on there, saying that at the time frame, my fingerprints.
So I'm curious to see where the industry goes.
Being any vehicle that I never seen in my life, I've never been around anybody with a Crown Vic. I know this.
I think we may have dodged
weird pimped out cars with the weird
we could
how they have the balance on the beams and go up and down the ventriloquist. My voice ventriloquist.
are already doing that. They're playing games like
hydraulics of the car would bounce on the person and fucking like bounce the car on them with hydraulics.
And as you can tell,
whatever the fuck it's called.
Tired. I'm just
I can't wait.
I laugh at Angry Joe's old ass. I'm going for it and acting like the mafia, and going for it. The Vargas family knew.
Because then we have to pay.
I knew Vargas family.
I saw that on account, and I was like,
oh, going for it. Armadale probably did all that weird shit. Everybody going for it, even having the Crown Victoria was never a car that we had. We had a Marquis car that was for making model, and the fingerprints would match.
Shows when our upcoming subscriptions are. We all saw it. We are going to cancel that one.
Yeah.
Would you consider?
It's just hopefully we can get it done with.
Yeah, Helldivers live service.
It is
kind of.
Yeah.
Helldiver. That's why I didn't complete what I was going to say.
No,
Helldivers 2 is a live service game that's good, and we're playing once. And I don't know if it's. Yeah, I would call that more roguelike, in my opinion, than live service.
Yeah, like it's on the
that game. He says we have to earn Arrowhead's philosophy with live service is way different from Ubisoft's and from WB Games, and that's why it feels different. That's why it plays different. That's why everybody's enjoying it, and it is basically a complete experience. And it's a ton of fun. It's organic. It's just a little news story here I had about it is that. They are aware of all the little funny cinematic moments that can happen. They wanted to purposefully include that kind of stuff. And he even mentions tabletop RPGs and things that can happen. You remember one time I used that spell and it blew up and we all died. It's like that's the kind of stuff that they've been going for. And so they're happy that it's happening. So motherfucking that company's always been awesome. We hung out with them long ago and they was doing the they were all in those monk outfits, the different monks in different colors. Magica and Magica too.
I mean, Arrowhead CEO is.
So it's really good to see they're doing good.
He said that he's like, look, our game is a live service game. And what he said is, we view ourselves as a live service game because it's unfair to say anything else. And that's true. But they're putting the content forward. It doesn't feel like they've pared away 50% of the game to drip out to you later on. So people feel like they're getting their money's worth.
Oh, for sure.
Especially now that the servers are working. Still, I wanted to play at least 3 times where it was like, no. And so, there's nothing we can do about that now. But, they know what they're doing, and it feels, it feels much better than at least for Suicide Squad.
Oh, big time. Big time.
You have some of them small ones you wanted to throw in the
Yeah, little bitty ones. I got Greedfall 2, The Dying World, launching in early access. Players are going to have access to the entire beginning of the game, whatever that means. They're doing it, so it kind of looks like I never got to play all the way through Greedfall. And honestly, I'm so far behind. I thought Greedfall 2 was already out. It's not. It's coming, and I got a subtitle called The Dying World. And it's not an MMO, it's an RPG, and but they're going to go and do something different. So they say it's certainly a much more ambitious game than the first one. And so early access seemed like the right path for us to take. We're relying heavily on early access to collect player feedback and see if we're heading in the right direction. So they're going to kind of take a Baldur's Gate 3 approach. And while that's inspiring, I think that's kind of inspiring in a bad way. I don't like the fact, I never liked the fact that Baldur's Gate 3 was in early access for so long, but it did help the development. It did, like, players did legitimately give them feedback, and they changed things for the better. Some companies don't. They don't listen to the feedback, or they think that you're wrong and they're right on this, and they don't listen to it. So it can be, a hit or miss, basically.
Yeah, I mean, Spiders, the developer, they've got a pretty good track record. They did a game called Steel Rising. They did a rapid fire for, other than it being the easiest Souls game in the history of Souls games, it's pretty solid. They really fucked up the difficulty, massively.
Okay, well, it's going to come out apparently later on this year in early access, I believe. Double checking, it's available on Steam in early access later this year. Probably a quarter of the whole content of the game. So maybe one of these days I can go back and check out and see what Greedfall 1 was all about. Another story I got for y'all is Dune. Dune is hot. On Sunday, me, Jay, and Patrick, we played Dune Imperium Rising. It's a worker placement board game. Normally, worker placement's kind of boring.
It is because you're by yourself. You keep to yourself. Not really a lot of engagement.
Right, yeah, but this one has engagement where you're like taking a space from somebody else and they wanted to go and communicate with the Fremen and increase their influence with the Fremen. And then there's battles and then sandworms and stuff. And it was a really fun game. Maybe not fun to watch, but fun to play. I was the Harkonnen, and I said, I learned, by the way, Harkonnen,
yeah.
Not Harkonnen.
I was waiting.
Harkonnen. And I was like, man, fuck this. I've seen the movies. We've learned our mistake. We are not going to think that the Fremen are rats. In fact, I made an alliance with the Fremen. So the Fremen and the Harkonnen put aside their differences and allied, and I won the game. I tied with Patrick, who was Muad'Dib, and I won by 1 point. Or actually, we tied, and I just had harvested more spice. So it was a real game. And